What is up, everybody? Olivia Moody here, your host of Pass the Spread, joined by Nick, Yahl, and Jeff Parles to talk all things basketball, all things March Madness, March Sadness, whatever you want to call it. It's been a rough week to start off March Madness. For me personally, I don't know how you fellas have done, but wow, a lot of things that I did not expect to happen happened. But that is March Madness, so get used to it, right? So let's start by talking about the first round. How did you guys' brackets do? I can start by telling you how mine did. They were horrible. My bracket was screwed the moment that Ohio State, Texas, and Illinois all lost, considering that they were my final four. And then in my final game, I had Texas and Illinois to win it all. So needless to say, college basketball screwed me this year. I don't know where I went wrong, but I pretty much called everything. I think the first day I got every single bet wrong. So rough start. Hopefully there's some redemption around the corner. But Nick, how did your bracket do this first round? Are you going to make any changes? Are you going to try to predict a new Final Four? What do you think went wrong for you?
Yeah, it was a tragedy, just absolute tragedy all across the board. Every one of my Elite Eight is out with the exception of Gonzaga. So we pretty much ripped up that bracket, threw it away. The entire Final Four is dead. Champions out. So it's chaos. But now we just root for chaos all across the board. Hopefully the lower seeds win. Root for Sister Jean. It's still been a fun March Madness. Betting-wise, I think I still have a couple futures plays alive. But as far as the bracket goes, yeah, we're done. We're screwed.
It's tough. Jeff, how did your first round go?
Everyone's bracket for the most part, unless if you went with pure chalk except for Illinois, which in all honesty, unless if you have Houston coming out of that Midwest region, you're probably screwed anyway. But it was pretty funny to me watching everyone on the Book It team, for the most part, just complaining about how crazy this March Madness is. It's always this nuts. It's not this crazy in the way with these high seeds going, but from a gambling perspective, it's tough. The lines are the sharpest they are all year, and it is a hard time of the year to beat the books in college hoops. So it just is what it is. I was lucky enough that the bets I loaded up on won. The ones that I bet smaller lost. So betting-wise, okay. Futures-wise, I still have Florida State and Arkansas live, but we'll see. The wackiest tournament ever produces chaos. So what are you going to do? It happens this time of the year. For losing on March Madness, for everyone who lost who's on our app, join the club. It happens on a yearly basis.
You made a great point about saying that this is a really hard time to beat the books. I would argue this is a very exciting time for Vegas. Parlays and March Madness, I think, are where Vegas is really, really happy because they're making a lot of money on a lot of losses. There were a lot of teams, in my opinion, that disappointed me, especially because, I had some of the higher seeds making it a whole lot further than they did. Was there any team in particular that disappointed you the most and any team that surprised you the most? Jeff, let's start with you.
Well, I've said it on basically any media thing I've done the last few days. Texas losing to Abilene Christian, just the way the stats broke down. I know Texas turned it over 24 times, but Abilene Christian shot under 30%. You're not supposed to lose that game if you're Texas. That was the worst loss anyone took all tournament. So they're the most disappointing to me. The most surprising, I don't know how you can't say it's Oral Roberts winning not once but twice. I got to give our guy Greg Peterson credit. He had Oral Roberts outright against Ohio State, so shout out to Hoops on that. But it's so hard for a 15 seed to win twice. We've only seen it once before this tournament where Dunk City, who was a horribly underseeded 15 seed, beat Georgetown and then slaughtered San Diego State the following game. Oral Roberts winning twice, especially in the fashion that they did it against Florida, coming from 11 down. Florida shot 55% from the field. That was just shocking. And now I think the clock is going to strike midnight against Arkansas, but this Oral Roberts team, Max Asmus and Kevin O'Banner are both really damn good. So who knows when the run ends? But they just have to be the biggest surprises. It's a 15 seed in the Sweet 16. It's only the second time it's ever happened.
Oral Roberts, yeah, they rocked the bracket
busters
all across the country. I saw that there were a lot of conversations about Oral Roberts being that Cinderella team this year. I definitely think that not many people expected, shout out to Greg for calling that, but not many people expected that to happen. So definitely a shock there with Oral Roberts. Nick, Most disappointing team and most surprising team for you.
Most disappointing team, I had Kansas in my Final Four. They get blown out by 30. Certainly Texas was disappointment. Illinois, Illinois just crapped the bed at the wrong time. They were so hot going into the tournament and just got cold, ice cold. So my Final Four teams were reckless. I think Loyola Chicago is a fun one to watch with Sister Jean. They're going to the Elite Eight, I think, and maybe even they get to the Final Four. Who knows? But I think that's a fun team to watch alongside Oral Roberts. Sister
Jean is a bad bitch. Excuse my French, but that woman, I don't know. She just has an aura about her. I need a Sister Jean in my life. Let's put it that way, because she's got good energy, and I need good energy this year. So what upset did you nail and which did you miss? Is there any upset that you knew was going to happen? You feel good about it. It hit. Any upsets that you should have maybe had but didn't? Nick, let's start with you this time.
Yeah, missed on the Winthrop upset. That one was, I think, wasn't expecting for Villanova to play as well as they certainly have. I did hit on the Ohio one. I think I rode that one thanks to Jeff. So thanks, Jeff, for getting me one winner, one upset winner. And it seems like all my other 12-5s didn't hit. Georgetown didn't hit. And then missed on the Oregon State one against Tennessee. And so those... I was on the wrong side of the 12-5s, but I did hit a 14-3, so that was a little bit exciting.
That'll make up for the loss of the 12-5 there. Jeff, any that you hit and any that you missed?
Well, I had to. I'll go negative to positive here. I had the 12-5s. I had 3 12s winning in my bracket, and the only one that won was the one I didn't have. So just completely backwards on that. I kind of kicking myself on Winthrop Villanova. Jay Wright was just too good of a coach to allow that to have happened. Should have had Santa Barbara against Creighton. I don't feel bad about that one. And Georgetown just got their asses beat by Colorado. What are you going to do? The Buff shot 67% from 3, and that game was over pretty quickly. It was pretty evident we had the wrong side early in that one. Look, Syracuse to the second weekend, I got that right throughout it, and that's really the biggest one in Ohio. And Nick and I rode that one together, and we got home on the Bobcats, who took advantage of Virginia. It's COVID pause leading to them having to travel less than 24 hours before their first round game, and it showed. And that's why the Bobcats won that game.
I would love to know how Jason backstage, where he had his very own Syracuse team making it in this tournament. I don't think I know where he had them going, but I'd love to know. It's weird betting on your own team. My granddad, of course, had West Virginia to win it all because he's like, the one year I don't bet that is going to be the year they do it, and I'll never forgive myself. But yeah, I would love to know if Jason had faith in Syracuse that way. I don't know if he saw them making it super far or not, but be interested to know that. Let's talk Sweet 16. We have 4 double-digit seeds moving on to the Sweet 16 with Oregon State, Oral Roberts, we talked about them, Syracuse, and UCLA. Which one has the best chance, in your opinion, to move on to the Elite Eight? Nick, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, in this game, I think it's going to be – I have Oregon State because they won the Pac-12, and they have the lowest seed matchup. But again, like I said, it's hard to bet against Sister Jean and Loyola Chicago. So that's going to be the matchup to watch. The other teams going up against those higher seeds, those 1-2s, and are going to have a tougher time making it to that Elite Eight. So in the Sweet 16, I'm going to go with Oregon State in that Loyola Chicago game, but don't be surprised if Loyola Chicago does make it to the Sweet 16 or to make it to the Elite Eight.
Jeff, you kind of have a different team that you're looking at, that you're leaning towards to make it to the Elite Eight. You want to talk about that?
I put a ranking 1 through 4 of those teams, those double digits that moved on. Syracuse, I think, has the best chance just because, Buddy Boeheim is playing as well as anyone right now, which is just a wild statement to be saying, but it's true. He's over 25 points in the last 5 games that he's played. The other double digits that we're looking at here, UCLA, I have second on my list. Bama is so explosive, and they play such good defense that I don't know how good of a matchup that is for UCLA. But the Bruins are very talented, so they should at least stay in against Alabama. And then Oregon State, I don't think has much of a chance against Loyola. At some point, that Beaver train's just got to stop. They're playing way above their heads the last few weeks now. And then Oral Roberts, I just think that's a horrible matchup for him. As much as I love to advance a 15 seed into the Elite Eight, that's just a bad matchup. They've already played Arkansas once this year. Arkansas beat them by 14. And Arkansas is a much better team than when they played back in December. Same deal with Oral Roberts, but it's just tough to see them have a real chance. So Syracuse, I think, is the double digit that has the best chance of moving on to the Elite Eight.
Jeff has Syracuse and Nick has Oregon State. We shall see which double-digit seed can advance. Again, it's March Madness. Anything can happen, so you could both be wrong. Who knows?
Of course.
Likely.
Right.
Of course, watch it be Oral Roberts beat Arkansas by 15 and just totally screw everything up again.
That's March Madness for you. So with the way March Madness has gone so far, we have some surprise teams playing much better teams this round. Obviously, when you play different teams, there's different things to be expected. So as a result, we only have 2 games this weekend with a spread under 5. Michigan -2.5 versus Florida State, and USC -2.5 versus Oregon. What are your picks for the 2 games Vegas expects to be the closest? Do we see a blowout? Do we see it close? Who do you like in these ones, Jeff? Let's go with you first.
Yeah, for Florida State, Michigan's really just a difficult game to handicap. Michigan showed me a lot in that second half against LSU. I thought LSU actually had more talent than Michigan with no Isaiah Livers, and Michigan just answered every big LSU punch with a bigger counterpunch, and were very impressive in that. Florida State matches up pretty well with Michigan. They have a lot of athleticism. They're very big. So I would lean towards taking with Florida State. I think this is going to be a tight game, but I'm not going to bet that. The other game, though, Liv, the Pac-12, the all Pac-12 Sweet 16, you're going to give me 2.5 with Oregon. I'm going to take the Ducks. They have the better coach. I think they're the better team, even though Evan Mobley is the best player in this game, obviously the stud and probable top 5 draft pick in the NBA that's at USC. But I'm going to take the Ducks. I'm a lot more confident in Oregon beating USC than I am Florida State beating Michigan.
Nick, do you agree on this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Jeff with Oregon. I'm gonna take the points and take them on the money line because I do think they win outright over USC. And then I am gonna stick with the Wolverines. My Michigan bet is still alive, and this one is a tough game to pick, and I might just pick Michigan to win outright instead of laying the points with the Wolverines. But I'm gonna ride that futures bet with Michigan and Alabama to win the title still, since Michigan was my first bet. So we'll ride with that, although Florida State could easily win this too, so we'll probably stay away from the spread.
It's so crazy because the 1 seeds that I thought had a really great chance of making it all the way were the 1 seeds that didn't. And the 1 seeds that I didn't have faith in, that I was like, they're going to be yanked right away. Baylor's making it further than I expected. Michigan especially is making it further than I expected. So it has been very weird. You learn something new every day. I'm definitely trying to learn something new every minute when it comes to college basketball. But last week, we all made our Final Four predictions, and let's just say it didn't end up working out for you guys or for myself, really. Cue the tape, Jason. Let's talk Final Four picks. Just rattle them off. Nick, let's start with you first.
Kansas, Texas, Ohio State, Illinois.
I like it. Jeff?
Kansas.
I hate it, but
I love the Missouri guy going with Kansas. That's always fun.
And Illinois.
Yeah, that's not. In all honesty, that's not as offensive as the other one. But I Gonzaga, Texas, Purdue, Oklahoma State for me.
Interesting. I like Gonzaga, Texas, Ohio State, and Illinois.
All three of us have Texas. Go bet Alabama, everybody. Hey, wait a second, Liv. I did give some sage advice at the end of that clip, which was soon as all 3 of us had Texas, go get on Alabama.
I got on Alabama, Jeff. I got on Alabama.
That was definitely the move on that one for sure. I have to give credit where it's due, but wow, when it's in black and white, when there's X's, it makes it so much more harsh. I mean,
Well, what do you want? Jason's a jerk. I don't know
That's
what to tell
tough.
you. He's
I
a
actually made
jerk.
that.
Oh, then Nick's a jerk.
Hey,
Sorry,
hello.
Jason. Sorry, Jason. I assumed it was you. and we
Just
know what
body
happens when
bagging
you
Jason
assume.
out of
Oh, no,
nowhere.
I apologize, Jack. I thought it was Jason. I didn't think it was you, Nick.
Jason's backstage and can't defend himself at all. He can't.
No, well, that's the best time to take a shot at someone, Liv.
I mean, that's just how it is. So, long story short, wow, we couldn't have been more wrong, and that is March Madness. I feel like that's been my slogan all month. It's just blame it on March Madness. When all else fails, this is how it goes. So let's just update our Final Four. Let's give us a second chance at this because clearly we need some redemption going on here. What are your updated Final Four picks, Nick?
Gonzaga, Alabama, Baylor, and Houston. Chalk, but whatever at this point. Whatever. We're going for a reverse approach, so maybe this is gonna help me out. I did put in a 10-1 on Bama, so we're gonna hopefully they win. And Gonzaga and Baylor, I never thought they'd win, but they look dominant right now. That's just how it is.
You can't help but go off of what you've seen, and they look good. Jeff, do you have a different Final Four?
Yeah, slightly. Gonzaga and Bama on the left side for me, so Nick and I see eye to eye there. I'm going to go Arkansas, and then we'll take the Ramblers of Loyola Chicago out of the bottom quadrant. Arkansas, there's something about Baylor that I'm hesitant on, even though they're really damn good. And I would like my Arkansas 80-1 future get in the national title game and at least have a chance to sell out of that thing. And Loyola's just playing great right now. So why not? We'll take the Ramblers to their second Final Four in 3 tournaments.
I like Gonzaga, Alabama. They dropped nearly 100 points last game, shooting insanely from the three-point line, which I think we did talk about here on Past the Spread. We said if they stay hot, they'll shoot the lights out of the place. And if they don't, it'll be rough for them. So thankfully, they were hot. I like Gonzaga, Alabama, Loyola, Chicago. I don't want to go against Sister Jean. I think it would be insane for me to do that right now because she's just got really great aura, energy, juju vibes all about her. I'm loving that right now. And then I hate to say it, the Baylor Bears, I have them in the Final Four. I think they're playing really well. They were the team that I thought was going to get eliminated super early, and they super didn't. So I'm just going to swallow my pride and say I was wrong on that one. Sick 'em Bears. I like them in the Final Four. So we'll do another episode next week where we go back to these and see. We either get the X's or the check for the next episode.
We all had Bama, which means go bet Michigan, guys. That's the simple one out of that.
I have both.
We're all on the. Oh well, then get the hell out of there, Nick. Just get out with one of them surviving into the Final Four.
Yeah, it's if we all agree on one, fade it. Hashtag fade.
Except for Gonzaga. Don't fade Gonzaga, guys.
No, you can keep Gonzaga, but Alabama, you heard it from Jeff. Go fade it. Go bet the other side of that Final Four. Let's talk some futures. Yeah, futures. Gonzaga is obviously still the favorite right now to win the whole thing at plus 155, followed by Baylor at plus 400, Michigan at plus 700, and Houston at plus 900. There's not an Alabama number in there. Are there any numbers that are catching your eye, or are there numbers that you're looking at that I did not mention just now? Jeff, you first.
Yeah, I'm not betting anything else future-wise. I'm just going to let my Arkansas 80-1 and my Florida State 40-1 that I made earlier in the year ride. I don't think either of them win it, but we're now at the point where Arkansas is a legitimate – both of these teams have legitimate shots to at least make the Final Four. The Florida State, like we said, slight dog against Michigan. Arkansas, if they don't get to the Elite Eight, something went horribly wrong against Oral Bob. So I'm going to let those ride. The numbers that you put for those 4 teams, the only one I'd consider is Baylor. But other than that, nothing really catches my eye here at all.
Nick, I know you've got a couple futures bets. What are they, and what are you looking at for right now?
Yeah, I had that Michigan one at 6.5-1, and then got Alabama hopped on at 10-1. So I do think Bama has a shot if they can keep their 3-point shooting fire on hot that, get hot, especially getting into the Final Four against Gonzaga, you're going to have to put up points and play good defense against them. So I think there might be a shot, but outside of that, that's all I'm sick with. No more futures bets. We'll ride those two, and if they burn, they burn. And if one of them wins, well, we'll make a little money.
There you go. It's a pretty positive attitude. If it wins, cool. If it doesn't, cool. That's March Madness for you. You got to love it. Let's talk some NBA. You guys know I love NBA. I always feel so much better when we talk about this because, as you can tell, college basketball has not been my cup of tea because I just quite honestly suck at it. So, not sure if you guys are looking for a break from the March Madness hoops. I know I am, but if you are not getting one, it's time to bet on some NBA. Let's cook up a PTS lay. Hashtag PTS lay. Head to the Book It Sports app, use the hashtag, give us a tag if you are going to ride this PTS lay with us. There are 11 NBA games on tonight, so we thought we'd cook one up for you. We'd each contribute one leg, so we have a little three-teamer going. I will go first. I like the Celtics +6 up against the Bucks. I've loved the Celtics lately. I also have a little prop bet on Jaylen Brown, so hoping he has a big game and covers this spread. So Celtics +6 is my leg. Nick, what's your leg?
We're going Spurs +6 thanks to intern Chuck against the Clippers. We'll throw the presentation lock in there. So if Chuck busts this lay, we can blame him.
Cool. Chuck, you're going to be blamed if this doesn't hit. Jeff, your leg for that final leg of this three-teamer, hashtag PTS lay.
Yeah, in all honesty, even if it's one of our legs that loses live, we still blame Chuck. I'm all in on that.
For sure.
But I'll lay the 3 with Atlanta against Sacramento. The Hawks' win streak finally ended against the Clippers. The Kings are just an abject mess this entire year. So we'll lay the 3 with Atlanta on the road in Sacramento tonight.
I like it. PTS lay. Tag us on Book It. Use the hashtag. You know what to do. If you're not on the Book It app, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're waiting for. Get over there.
Get on there.
There's a lot of people on that app with great insight, great bets. I feel like the app has been cashing out a lot lately. There's so many people on the app right now that have been making a ton of money betting. And they pretty much give all the insight you need to tail their bets and ride it with them. So get on the app and check that out for sure. We've been talking a lot about the MVP race here on the show, and unfortunately, things have kind of gotten a little bit weird with all the injuries. Last week, we saw the then favorite Joel Embiid go down with an injury. Then on Saturday, the new favorite LeBron James goes down with an ankle sprain. He's out indefinitely. RIP Lakers. So a new favorite has emerged. That's my drum roll. It's Nikola Jokic at -110. I think I remember on this show, I said, where's Jokic in this conversation? Excuse me, where is he? And he's here. He is now the favorite, Nikola Jokic, -110 odds. If he stays healthy, is the race over? Fellas, I would love to know your opinion. Nick, I didn't ask you to go first, so zip it. Don't shake your head. Jeff, you first.
Is it over if he stays healthy? No, because
okay,
there's a guy by the name of James Harden who, quite frankly, I think James Harden actually should win the award at this point. With how Embiid's not going to play enough games, unfortunately, and even though I think Embiid, when healthy, has been the best player in the league, the Sixers kept winning without him in. And as unfair as that is to Joel, he's going to get hurt by that. And the Lakers, and look, the Lakers at this point, without LeBron or AD, the Lakers might end up as the freaking 6 in the Western Conference when this is all said and done, which should dictate LeBron. But that, again, LeBron out for a month of their 6 weeks, people won't vote him. So that leaves it to Jokic and Harden. And to me, James Harden, since going to Brooklyn, that trade, A, the Rockets have become the worst team in basketball history, basically, since they traded him. And B, the Nets have stayed afloat, not only stayed afloat, they've been the best team in the East since acquiring Harden, and KD's barely played, and Kyrie's battled injuries, and Harden's averaging basically close to a triple-double right now. So, look, I think Harden has a really good grasp of the award, so I would be betting Harden right now, even though the number, you can add 40-1 about a month and a half ago, but even at 8-1, 7-1 still, I think Harden's the bet, and I think Harden's the guy who stays in the way of Jokic if Nikola's not going to win the thing.
You know what? As much as I love Jokic, I do agree with you. I think Harden has been stellar. And I think he needs to get some credit for the fact that he has had a roster that's very inconsistent, very unhealthy. No KD. We haven't had KD for the majority of the season. Kyrie has been wishy-washy, out every other game, and Harden's still keeping the Nets alive. I mean, he's still, I don't want to say he's the only person on that team that's making it happen, but he is contributing very heavily on both ends of the court to help this Nets team stay afloat with all these inconsistencies and these injuries. So I definitely want to give credit where it's due. However, before Nick has a chance to run his mouth, let me say something really quick, okay? Nikola Jokic just recorded his 12th triple-double of the season against the Magic. In the last 4 games, he was 1 assist short of having triple-doubles in the last 4, okay? I'm not going to argue with you, Nick, because I honestly don't care to even argue. I don't want to waste my breath. But I will say I sprinkled a little – Nick, I swear to God. I sprinkled a little bit on a triple-double for Nikola Jokic tonight up against the Raptors, who allowed the 8th most rebounds and the 2nd most assists. So if you're tuning in, you didn't see my tweet or my bucket post, that is a little prop that I sprinkled a little money on. I think the odds are plus 190 on FanDuel right now. So while we have Nikola Jokic in the conversation, I had to throw that prop bet in there. So take it or leave it, tail at your own risk. I was absolutely going through an episode last night with that Jordan Poole bet. Hopefully we can redeem ourselves tonight. But Nick, I'll let you talk. You only have 30 seconds. Go.
30 seconds? That's all you're giving me? No. The simple answer is no. Embiid is the only big man that I would give it to if you're giving it to. If you're giving it to a center, too much time left in the season right now. Jeff made a great point on Harden. And, some of these other guys can squeak in there too. There's still a lot of basketball left to be played. And these guys that are injured, it's all about it's going to be about recency bias more than anything. They're going to look at the second half of the season. It's what have you done for me lately? And certainly they'll look at the numbers from the first half of the season, what's gone on there. But, overall, yes, Jokic has had a really good season. He's the best player on the Nuggets. But I think the committee will give it to someone other than a big man.
Whatever,
Nick. The committee.
Voting committee.
The committee. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we're all committees now.
That's a little fancy way to, yeah, we're part of the committee. I love it. Unlike the MVP race, we haven't really talked about Rookie of the Year because it's been all over the place, and another injury has now messed it all up. Lamelo Ball was the heavy favorite and pretty much a lock before he fractured his wrist and is now out for the remainder of the season. Anthony Edwards is the new favorite at minus 165, but Lamelo Ball is still just plus 150, so some plus money there, followed by Tyrese Halliburton at plus 450. Similar to the MVP situation with Embiid and LeBron, does LaMelo still have a chance, even with all the time he'll miss? Has he made enough of an impact to still have that Rookie of the Year futures bet for a lot of people? Nick, let's go with you first. What do you think about this one?
I think he still has a little bit of a shot. The rest of the rookies, while good, they haven't been close to what LaMelo has done, and Anthony Edwards would probably be the one to win it, depending on how he finishes out the season. Again, they're going to look at, this last half of the season here. There's still some time to play, but LaMelo's just been so good, dominant as a rookie, that I think he's still got a little bit of a shot.
I loved watching LaMelo play. I was actually really, really bummed when he went out. I think he's been incredible this year. So fun to watch. He's really turned that Hornets team into a force to be reckoned with, a super exciting team to watch. I've loved watching him, so definitely won't be the same without him. Jeff.
Yes.
LaMelo Ball.
So
a chance?
We're gonna play a fun game of math here. Okay.
Oh, Jeff, come on.
So Patrick Ewing, back in his rookie season, we're going way back in the time machine here. But Patrick Ewing won the Rookie of the Year, his rookie year, playing 50 out of 82 games. That is the lowest percentage of games played by a rookie that still won the award. LaMelo is going to play, by the way, that's 61% roughly for Ewing. LaMelo is going to play pretty close to that with that wrist injury. So the question is, does 1986 translate to 2021? I don't think it does. So I think the big problem with LaMelo is we live in such an instant gratification, instant satisfaction, recency bias world right now, where LaMelo's been pretty clearly the best rookie this year. And I think he still should win the award despite missing the last 6+ weeks of the season. But I think Anthony Edwards is going to be the guy because Edwards is putting up big numbers on a bad team and was the first overall pick. So I wouldn't bet anything here. And I think it's a damn shame because Lamelo was so much better than every other rookie this year.
I know. It was really unfortunate. He's been so incredible this year. Well, Jeff, thank you for the math lesson because that actually did make me feel a little bit better about this bet, knowing that it has happened before. So there's still hope. And let's not forget, there's still time for more injuries.
Unfortunately, you are correct.
I don't like to I'm not wishing injury on anyone. I don't want to see another injury. However, we could have a hamstring pull from Anthony Edwards in a week. Who knows? You never know, which is why with futures bets, there's a little bit of a risk there. You may just want to lock in Lamelo Ball if you feel like he still has a chance and you know that he's played super well and it's been done before. Maybe it was a long time ago, but could happen again. So, Jeff, thank you for that. Thank you for the math lesson. Didn't think I'd actually enjoy the math lesson.
It wasn't that difficult of math. That's why it was okay.
No, you did all of it. You just explained it.
Right.
Professor Jeff.
It has been a ride, this March Madness first round situation. I mean, good Lord. We are moving on to the Sweet 16. So we will regroup and we will talk again next week. We also have another episode this Friday as well, where we're just going to kind of talk about the things to expect for the weekend and the things we've seen throughout the week. But we will regroup next week and see where our bets are standing. Have we made some money? Are we up units? Are we down units? The whole nine. So prayers up. Let Sister Jean's energy be with you as we proceed through March Madness, because I think we could all use a little bit of Sister Jean right now. Anyways, it's always a pleasure, fellas. Nick, Jeff, they are both on the Book It app. We're interacting. We've got some fun, exciting things going on the back end of Book It. We're really working hard to make sure that app is perfect, and we've got some new and improved updates coming very soon. Get on the app. Get involved, join the community. It's been super great. Nick, Jeff, and myself are all on there talking all things sports, not just basketball. I know we focus on that for this episode, but we have every sport you could think of is being talked about on the Book It Sports app. So make sure you download it. Give us a tag. Use hashtag PTSLay if you are tailing our NBA bets for today. Jeff, Nick, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Liv.
Always a pleasure.
See
and
you guys.
See you next time.